What's going on, guys? It's AJ. I forgot to do this during the episode, so I'm adding it in as the cold open for this week. I want you all to know that earlier today, before we recorded the episode, Dan and his girlfriend were at the beach, and while they were at the beach, Dan did not take his girlfriend to the snack shack to get a snack. I'm calling him out here during the cold open, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode and give him shit for it. Here it is. Welcome back to the Packy Run podcast, my guys and girls and people who don't identify and everybody. Welcome back, everybody. Let's just go with that.
Welcome back, human beings.
This is the Packy Run podcast. I am AJ Lagambina.
I am Dan Mayott.
And we're back for another fun-filled week of coronavirus, sports, music, hot takes, whatever comes out of our brains.
Yeah, whatever we feel like we want people to listen to and hear our opinions on and takes on things.
It's whatever's necessary, Dan. The people we saw, I will say, I'll start it off by saying, man, we saw a spike this week. The couple of spikes that we've had in like listenership and stuff have been directly correlated with when we have just gone off the rails. So our Alex Jones impersonations and discussion about the First Amendment and its merits last week, the people love it, Dan.
Well, welcome new listeners. Happy to have you back and listening. Hopefully you enjoy Boston sports or just sports in general. I mean, we don't just talk about Boston sports, but we're two Boston sports guys who live in different parts of the country at this point. And
not only that, we're two Boston sports fans that grew up on punk rock.
Yes,
that's the whole shtick here. It's two dumbasses with DIY roots talking about everything, man.
Yeah. So, like tradition, we talked a little. We went in last week about Alex Jones. We talked about a little bit of like what's going on with the NFL and like sports in general. This week will be a lot of the same thing, minus Alex Jones. We are going to touch on some video games because we love video games. Like we haven't talked about those yet. And you're probably not going to like my takes, but hey, whatever. Yeah.
Love that sound.
Every single show, we always started off with what we are drinking this episode. I'll start it off, and actually, like, I made this recommendation a few days ago on our Instagram. It is Packy Run Pod on Instagram and also Twitter, but it is Dragon Weiss Harpoon. It's a mix of dragon fruit and hibiscus. It's a great summer beer to just hang out, sit on the porch, have a couple of these. It's not a chugger for sure.
A little bit on the heavier side.
I wouldn't say on the heavier side. It's definitely light, but it's a little sour, but like, and I'm not into sour beers. I prefer, like, this has the perfect amount of sour to me. A little bit of bitterness, but it's not sweet. A good mix. It's a good blend. Harpoon always does a good job with their beers. I picked up one of their summer packs. It had a mix of their regular standard beer, their IPA, Rec League, which is I'm actually kind of shocked by it. It is advertised as a light beer and is probably the best light beer I've ever had. Have you ever had that one?
I have not.
What?
My experience with Harpoon is almost exclusively the original IPA and then the Wana Mango.
That was also included with this pack as well. I don't know if it's nationwide, but if you're definitely in the New England area, I would recommend picking yourself up a 12-pack of these. It's just great selection. Like, I'm not into light beers, but the Rec League really surprised me. That was also going to be one of the other ones I was going to say. But, well, you saw on our Instagram, right? Like, they commented on our post.
I did not. So, again, we're starting off the show. We're giving you guys a little bit of information about how the sausage is made here at the Packy Run. Dan largely runs the social media and stuff like that. I'm mainly, producer, engineer kind of thing. I'm handling the audio that you guys are hearing each week. So I would say probably 8 out of 10 times if you see us on social media, it's probably my best friend. So I did not see that. What did they say?
They just sent like a beer emoji. That's all they commented. But still, that's pretty cool. So shout out to Harpoon.
Bro, that's us getting our foot in the door.
I don't know about that.
This is how it starts. About that. If we keep it up, we might actually get there.
We just have to keep drinking Harpoon then.
All right, I'll do some research and figure out where I can find it down here in lovely Nashville, Tennessee.
True.
Down here in the 615.
Gross.
Yeah, that it hurt to say it that way. I won't lie.
Don't you have didn't you have thunderstorms earlier today?
We've had thunderstorms on and off for the past 2 days. It hasn't hit my area of Nashville all that much, but there were, thunderstorm warnings and stuff hopping around. Not exactly my idea of fun, especially in a place that has been prone to tornadoes.
Yeah, that's true. So what are you drinking this evening, AJ?
I'm boring this week. I've just got another Sam 76. It's a standard. It's the beer. It's the like easy drinking beer that every quote unquote easy drinking beer wishes it was. Super flavorful, right. Really well put together, well balanced. You can drink a bunch of them or you can drink a couple of them. It's never too heavy. It's not necessarily a light beer. It's the old standby. It's what works.
Yeah. So, it's always there.
But Sam Adams and Harpoon in one episode, it sounds like a match made in heaven. Guys, reach out to the Packy Run. Sponsor us.
Yeah. Or if any other brands would like to as well.
Yeah, reach out. Reach out to your local breweries. Tell your local breweries we want sponsors and listen, I'll settle for free beer. I'm not complaining if that's all we get out of this. That covers drinks. So do we have any follow-up from last week's episode?
Last week, we covered a little bit about the Washington football teams. Not the whole, not what the Washington Post article came out against them, but we did talk about their potential names. We talked a little bit about what is going on with the NFL. But since everything that has gone on, there's been like the whole drama with... there was an article released by the Washington Post. It was 15 women coming forward against the team being sexually harassed, and a lot of other accusations against the team and some of its higher-up officials. Not against Dan Snyder or the former GM, but just general people being shitty in the workplace.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, and I don't know what other word to use because funny is not the right one, but it is kind of funny how like it takes one domino for like all of this stuff to come down. So it was their first year head coach, right? Who was kind of the first person that set all the rest of this in motion.
Yeah, Ron Rivera was behind like, hey, we should probably change that name. And then Dan Snyder, the owner, was like, nah, I don't want to. And then the sponsors have been pulling out and they're like, hey, we're not going to give you money unless you change your name. Ron Rivera has been supporting that. And then Ron Rivera recently has come out with his statement and said like, oh, this better not happen. My daughter works here now. Like not on my watch, which that's a better leadership than like what Dan Snyder has done.
It's just sad to watch all of that kind of stuff continue to happen. And yeah, keep the pressure on. Let's see what we've got an entire episode. It was 2 episodes ago. We sat back and gave them some ideas for what to rename their team. So hopefully we see something along those lines.
Hopefully they take one of those and we get some sort of royalty from that. We talk a lot about being sponsored and getting royalties from things. I promise we're not this money hungry.
Speak for yourself, bro. It's all about them checks for me.
True. You just want to sell out.
I mean, isn't that the dream? Isn't that the American dream, to just sell out?
I mean, true. That is kind of the American dream.
The least punk thing I've ever said. But I'm on a podcast now, and I'm like a grown-ass adult who is trying to figure out how to support himself. So yeah, I'll sell out.
Dude, you still have Pop-Tarts for dinner.
That's not entirely true. I mean, it's not like I haven't done that in the past couple months.
I mean, this has been a day full of calling you out. So I do apologize.
This is true. Listeners at home, telling you, at Packy Run Pod on Instagram and Twitter, I have been roasted for takes that I made 10 episodes ago. My own family wouldn't even back me up.
Was it just one person, or how many more people reached out to you and said, that's a bad take?
It was only my cousin Bobby. We can say this now. My cousin Bobby, friend of the pod.
Yes.
Bobby backed you up. He backed you up about the my Nomar take, and I put my doctor hat on. I prescribed him 2 middle fingers and told him to call me when the fever breaks. Cause man, damn.
I mean, that's what you should have told Nomar when he broke a couple of his limbs and couldn't perform for the Red Sox anymore.
My friends and my family are just not loyal, and I am upset about it.
I mean, Nomar was good, but really?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm a sad boy now.
It's like me putting Manny Ramirez on a Mount Rushmore list. I love Manny. Manny is my
this though.
Yeah.
I'll give you this. If you put Manny Ramirez on that Mount Rushmore, you probably would have gotten more agreement out of people than I will ever get for putting Nomar up there. But you know what? Mount Rushmore.
People remember Nomar as just getting injured all the time. And also the ridiculous,
my pinned tweet.
The way he would go to bat, up to bat, and how many times he would adjust his batting gloves and his armbands and everything.
He would tap both of his cleats with his bat, give himself a couple of rotations of the bat.
20 minutes for him to get through in a bat.
Couple of false swings. Oh man. It was Nomar being Nomar before Manny Ramirez was even on the scene, dude.
I mean, Manny was my favorite Red Sox player growing up.
Who is it now?
I mean,
all-time favorite Red Sox player.
I mean, it's weird because according to all my memorabilia collection of the Red Sox, I think if you saw all of it, you would think it's either Roger Clemens, Pedro, or Jim Rice. But it's not I think if I had to choose my favorite Red Sox player of all time, that's tough. I think I have to pick Big Papi.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a toss up for me between David Ortiz and Pedro Martinez, or all time.
But I saw recently somebody. It was this YouTuber Starks Rave Sports. He did a 2-part series on Manny Ramirez, and boy, I got so much nostalgia.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, I've been on the nostalgia train for the past week. I won't lie. I've spent those NFL mic'd up videos are gold.
Did you see Julian Edelman's? Speaking of that, did you see Julian Edelman's clothing line getting dropped today?
He released new stuff today. Is it a clothing line, or is it more of his
it's
topical t-shirts?
Did you see that one?
I haven't seen any of them. Fill me in.
There's it's JE11. It's the standard. It's the TD12 type of thing that Brady has going on for him.
Although I'll say Julian's stuff is a little bit less a lot of the TB12 stuff is man, you're selling people snake oil. As opposed to Julian has a brand kind of deal. Brady has always been trying to sell people, vegan burgers and
avocado ice cream.
That's a little weird. But he dropped new stuff today.
Yeah, he just dropped it.
Like what?
think he dropped some like slides and a couple like t-shirts and stuff like that. There's one like tie-dye shirt.
Weird.
I mean, hey,
I have one of his T-shirts after we won the Super Bowl against the Rams. He had a Belichick T-shirt, and it's Belichick in his hoodie with his little with his headset.
Yeah.
And it's got the Infinity Gauntlet from Avengers.
Oh.
So it has like all 6 stones, as in all six championships. That's a Julian Edelman T-shirt that I have.
True.
And I have one of the Bet Against Us shirts where it just says Bet Against Us along the front, but there's a football on the sleeve, and the football has the years of all 6 Patriots Super Bowls. And it's a pretty good one.
Going back to baseball, since we're like 2 days at this point. Right now we're recording on a Tuesday, but the day we release, it's going to be opening day, finally, for baseball.
Happening.
Red Sox are playing the Orioles. I believe that, like, they're playing on Friday. Are you going to tune in?
Probably, considering the fact that, I'm back to being quarantined. I'm hanging out at my house, and I'm basically making crop circles in my house between my front porch, my little studio space, and my bedroom. So I've got the time to tune in. Might as well watch some Red Sox baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the Cubs and the White Sox the other night, and I can't think of the last time I actually sat through most of a baseball game on TV. Like in person, like I'll watch the baseball game. I'll grab a beer and like a hot dog, and that's a fun time to me. That's a fun night out.
And that doesn't even have to be MLB, The Nashville Sounds down here, AAA ball. I have a lot of. Do you remember the Brockton Rocks?
I never saw the Brockton Rocks. I don't remember them. But
Brockton Rocks, you could go to a game for next to nothing and just spend a night at the baseball stadium, get a hot dog, hang out, fantastic times.
I live near the Lowell Spinners, and they're actually Red Sox affiliated, which is awesome. You're kind of seeing all the future Red Sox stars as they're like going up the ranks.
Coming up.
Yeah, I saw Mookie Betts there like a billion years ago.
That's incredible.
Yeah, too bad they traded him. That if he was still on the team, that would be my favorite Red Sox player at the moment. But I currently don't have a favorite Red Sox player, so hopefully Rafael Devers are. Although I like Xander Bogaerts, I think he's a good player. I was
going to say Devers or Bogaerts are probably going to be those are probably going to be the big names for the time being.
Yeah. I don't like Sale. I think he is way overpaid. He's good when he's healthy, but yeah, like if he came in and performed like Pedro, which he's not Pedro by any standards, and he's but Pedro was traded to the Red Sox at one point, and if he performed like Pedro, then like I would be like, ooh, you know what? I like Chris Sale, but he's constantly hurt and just underperforms. We have no pitching this year. That's the thing.
How many years have we been hearing that about the Red Sox, though?
I mean,
always the pitching with us.
I mean, think about it. When was the last time? What's the last dominant pitcher you can think of for the Red Sox?
I can't.
Like, that's not Pedro.
Yeah, off the top of my hand. Like,
I mean, Kurt Schilling had that one good year in 2004, but he was hurt at the very end, and then hurt the entire next year. And Josh Beckett was good, but dominant?
Nah.
No. Like
it's been too long. But the flip side of that is that by definition, if we've had such a drought, something's got to be coming our way soon.
That's true. That is true.
Look out for it. This year's probably not the year to be looking out,
right?
Because we're getting live scrimmages and everything else. But man, the way that things are trending, I'm still on the fence. I don't think that we're going to be seeing much in the way of national sports the way that we're used to seeing them. It's a tall order with the way that things are right now.
It's going to be, I mean, what's the over under? Like, is it going to be over 30 games or under 30 games? Do you think they're going to actually play this year? Because 30 is like the halfway mark.
I'm forever the pessimist. I'm saying under 30 games. I think that we're going to get to a point, and I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be under 30 games, but I think it's going to be an uphill battle. I think that more and more teams are going to have more and more players that are testing positive and more issues. And I think, as usual, ownership and the league and everything else is going to be reactionary about it. And it's eventually going to get to the point where the fans and the clubs and the individual players are all going to be sitting back and kind of looking at the league and going, what are we doing?
Right. Especially, is it worth it to be in harm's way like this?
Well, that's one of the scariest things about the NFL too, is that that's even more of a contact sport than baseball. And if we do manage to see an NFL season, what happens when the star quarterbacks start coming down with this thing? What happens when your wide receivers or your top roster defensemen start coming down with this? And if enough people get it, in a single club, you could very reasonably get to the point where you can't play as a team.
Yeah, that is actually true. And I mean, the NFLPA just announced an hour ago, since we've recorded this, there's going to be no preseason games, and it's instead of 90 roster spots, it's going to be 80 roster spots. So to minimize the risk for it. But I mean, yeah, preseason games, that makes sense, but 80 to 90 people, that makes that
Limiting the roster spots doesn't make sense. Getting rid of the preseason absolutely makes sense, but they need to. I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, these are still multi-million-dollar franchises, and even if they decide to just go, you know what, it's just not worth the risk, we're just going to not have a 2020 season. Almost every single one of those clubs is still going to be, I have a hard time believing that most of those clubs are going to be in the red after that. They're going to make their money on merchandising and, putting out content.
Right.
There's plenty of Patriots players. I mean, if Julian Edelman can have, which by the way, I haven't watched it and I really want to, but I have no reason to get a Showtime subscription. If Julian Edelman can put out a documentary, any of these guys, any of these teams can put out actual worthwhile documentaries for their fans to watch. And think about that. You put together a documentary using game footage and some individual interviews with people and then rent it out to people for $5 a piece on Amazon or something. There's no reason why these clubs can't be making money if they decide to just be you know what, we're going to do what's best for the fans and the players and put it off for a year.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes is still going to be playing. Tom Brady will still play. We'll get the chance to see if they just push it out for whatever it would be 8-9 months and then actually have a season next year. Financially, none of those institutions are really going to lose any sleep over that.
Yeah, they're not going to lose sleep over that. I mean, as long as they're not losing money, I mean, they're going to lose money anyways this year.
They're going to lose theoretical money, but I have to imagine that they have enough in the reserves. And like I said, with all the third party and the ancillary kind of stuff, jersey sales, doing a couple of documentaries or something, there's no way that they can't at least maintain their operating costs.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there are. For somebody who works partly in the sports industry, I still have a job, and my union is helping with that.
Yeah, I mean, good on you. Keep getting them checks.
I'm still collecting those checks. Thank you, Barclays. Thank you, the Nets ownership.
Thank you, Barclays, for supporting my friend, but fuck you for taking him away from his Boston sports roots. That's all I got to say on that.
Well, guess I'm a traitor now because I'm a Islanders and a Nets fan at this point, not
You're
a
a turncoat
Celtic.
and a thief.
But speaking of Islanders and also Bruins, NHL is starting back up again. Looks like 2 weeks, at the start of next month.
I'm excited for hockey to come back again, the same way that we were just talking with baseball and with football and everything else. I am extremely skeptical about putting people in those kind of positions as far as the virus is concerned. But yeah, in my heart of hearts, I'm just ready to watch some hockey again. Give me something to tune into that I can zone out for a couple of hours.
Yeah, I mean, hockey is one of the best sports to watch, just in general, especially if you're at the game. Can't think of anything better. It's just It's so good.
I've said it to people 1.5 million times. Hockey is everything soccer wants to be. The rules are almost the same. The actual goal, no pun intended, of the game is the same. But all of these guys are on ice skates, and it is so much faster paced, but it is still, the real joy of watching a hockey game is the passing and the finesse. And you get all of that. You get all of the cool things that you would get about watching a soccer game, but because we're Americans and we all have ADHD, it's a lot faster, which keeps us more engaged.
Absolutely. And I mean, when I was working at Barclays and the Islanders were playing, and if there are any Islanders fans that are listening to this, you know how shitty Barclays is for watching hockey. I don't know if you know this, but there are... Really? Okay. So at Barclays, it is strictly made... For whatever reason, the designers didn't think there would be hockey being played there. They thought it was going to be strictly basketball and for concerts and conventions and that kind of thing. There are certain sections where you can't see, it's blocking a quarter of the ice. So when you walk in, the main entrance at Barclays, I believe the section is 31. If you're right near the organ player and that kind of thing, right when you walk in, you go down and you look and you can't see the goal that's underneath you. It's that bad. No one buys seats there. They don't even offer them up because they're that bad.
Now, coming from, I obviously never got the opportunity to be in the old garden, but coming from somebody who has gone more than his fair share of times to the TD Garden, the north end of Boston, that's unforgivable because I have yet to be, I've been up there with the gallery gods, up in the nosebleeds. I've been in boxes. I've been closer to the ice. And whether it was hockey games or I don't think I've ever seen a Celtics game, but I have seen the Harlem Globetrotters there. Any time that I've ever
seen a
gone
couple
to the
Celtics
Garden,
games, and it's always a good time.
Any time I've been there is just amazing.
The thing about the Islanders, though, their old arena is currently being renovated, and they're building a new one out in Long Island.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so they've been kind of bouncing back and forth between Barclays and also Nassau Coliseum.
Okay.
Which, as somebody who's an arena worker, they get pretty angry because of how much Barclays as an arena sucks for hockey. And I get it. I understand it. I get frustrated too. There's not much I can do at that point. Anyway,
yeah, that's well above your pay grade.
Right. Because I can't redesign the stadium or redesign the whole arena just for their specific needs. Although I have so much fun being in the nosebleeds, middle ice, and they're just it's because the seats are so cheap. You can go to an Islanders game in Brooklyn, the cheapest tickets, depending on who's playing that night, you can get tickets as cheap as $5.
Last time I went to a Bruins game, I went with my cousin's now ex, and we were hanging out with, they call themselves the Gallery Gods. My back was against the wall. I was as high can be, but I was directly behind one of the nets, and you can see everything. And you know what? As much as I detest Nashville, but I've got a lot of respect for the Predators. I really like the Nashville Predators, and
They're
like
a good
their
team.
fans.
They put up a fight.
They're a good team. They put up a fight. They've got, it's funny to say in a place that's so ridiculously southern and is the way that it is. But Nashville is absolutely a hockey town. And I've never seen a Predators game, but I have gotten to hang out in a similar section of the Bridgestone Arena to see a couple of shows now. And Bridgestone Arena is smaller, but very similar to the TD Garden. Like, there's not really a bad seat in the house. It's an awesome kind of, it's a great kind of vibe to be in that place. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, hockey's great. Like, it's like it's so funny because a lot of my coworkers, they never have seen a hockey game, like either on TV or in person. They didn't know the rules. They didn't know how it went. I remember I went to my orientation, or like one of the many orientations that I had, and they asked everyone, they were like, who likes hockey? Like, all the new hires were in the room, and I was the only person that raised my hand.
Well, here's what I'll say about this. And are you ready? I'm going to go into the hot take chamber for this.
Okay.
Hockey is the punk rock of national sports. Here's why I'll say that. Hockey is the punk rock of national sports because it is not nearly as big as, say, the NFL or the MLB, right? Mm-hmm. But it has a strong, almost like cult following. The people that love hockey, the people that love hockey teams are dedicated to their teams. And there's a big enough following that it like maintains it's self-perpetuating.
Right.
Very similar to the way that punk rock is, where it's like, especially now, you're not hearing punk bands on the radio. You're not seeing, most people are not paying attention to punk bands, even if they are big national touring, self-sustaining acts or whatever. But the people that love that music, the people that are part of that culture, the people that are invested in that is like a definitive life trait for them.
I mean, I never thought of it like that. But there's a couple reasons why hockey is not as popular in the United States, for sure. I mean,
it's Canadian.
Well, it's not only I don't think it's that. I think the 2005 lockout didn't do them any services when they didn't have a season. They don't have any they were on ESPN, they were on all the major networks, and then because of this lockout, they're like, we lost all of this kind of money, and it kind of lost interest. It's kind of like how baseball had their season shortage in '94. People lost interest in it just because oh, nothing's going on. Okay, not gonna watch it.
Move on.
Yeah, move on. Move on to basketball and football and other sports.
Yeah, I can see that. But especially coming from Boston, where
the Bruins are going to be big in Boston no matter what. I mean, even when the Celtics were winning all those championships in the 60s, for example, Bruins were the kings of the Garden.
And that's how it should be, and I think that's still kind of how it is. I think, Boston, the Red Sox have had a renaissance in the 21st century. The Patriots have had a renaissance in the 21st century. The Celtics have, they've only won one championship, but the Celtics have had a little bit of a renaissance and stuff like that. But
the Celtics are still highly competitive and highly successful.
Oh, absolutely. But anybody from Boston will tell you, it is still in this day and age, Boston's a hockey town. Yeah. That is, it's not. It sounds really weird and really kitschy when you talk to people not from the area about it and whatever. But when people say that town bleeds black and gold, they're not fucking around. The Bruins are a force in our hometown.
Yeah. But I'm excited to watch some hockey again. I'm
ready.
What?
I'm ready. I'm a little bit skeptical given everything else that's going on, but I think that, if they're making it safe for the players and I can sit back and I can watch some hockey games, fuck yeah, dude, let's go.
Yeah, what do you, I know that you have expressed in the past, or a little bit, that you're Bruins are going to go all the way, the Bruins are the best team. do you still think that, or do you think this time off is going to be bad for them?
I think the time off, I don't think that the time off has been bad for them. I think the only reason why the time off has not benefited the Bruins is the fact that every other team has gotten time to get healthy, and they've gotten time to sit back, and they've gotten time to practice and stuff, which makes the competition a little bit more fierce than it was before everything got shut down. But I said it last podcast. Name me a better front three. Name me a better front three than Bergeron, Chara, and Pasternak. You just can't. Like we are damn near unstoppable. And I still, more than the team, I blame the fans for our loss in the playoffs last year. You could hear it on TV. I had people that I knew that were in the Garden. I had friends that were in and around the Garden. By the time Game 7 came around, for whatever reason, Boston had just lost its spark. We were tired. Not only was the team tired, but the fans were tired. And I think that went a long way towards sealing our fates last year. And I think now we've had some time away. The competition's a little bit more fierce. I think that this playoff round robin thing, if Boston shows up the way that it's supposed to show up, I have a hard time believing that we don't take it home again this year.
Yeah, I mean, I have beef with the Bruins, but
just because you suck, Dan.
No, it's just because their ownership is crappy, and I refuse to support crappy ownership, which we talked about earlier.
I will even go into the hot take. I will go into the hot take chamber for this.
Okay.
You have beef with the Bruins because you suck, Dan.
That's not a hot take. That's just...
It is a hot take.
That is a lukewarm take.
It's a hot take. And, well, I was going to say that I have people that'll back me up, but apparently my family doesn't even back me up on my hot takes, so.
Yeah, I mean, guys, I'm an Islanders fan. Like, we're trying to compete. We were good earlier this season. We kind of fell off towards the beginning of the year, unfortunately. But we were
My new goal for this podcast is to bring you back to the black and gold.
Nah, man, blue and orange. Blue and orange.
What are you, a Tiger Cub?
Hey now. Hey now.
Well, I think that's about all the sports that we need to devolve into for this week.
That is probably true.
Given everything that's going on, we alluded to it earlier in the episode.
Right.
Most of us are stuck at home and are trying to figure out ways to pad the time and trying to figure out what to do to kill time. And one of the things that I've really come back to lately has been video games, especially on the current generation of like hardware and things, especially, the quality of some of the remade games and some of the, the new properties that have come out and everything else.
Right.
It's been a blessing to have a PS4 in my household and to be able to just kind of forget about the world for a few hours at a time and sit back and just indulge in that kind of thing. So Dan, what have you been playing? I know you've got a PS4 too. We talked early on in the podcast about you fixing your Xbox and stuff. What are you playing?
I mean, like I'm a boring guy. I keep going back to the same, I guess, franchises, if you want to say that. I always like playing Madden, and I like playing 2K. Those are the two games I am always into. You can always expect me to play those. It's either one or the other. Sometimes it's MLB The Show. I like to create a player and just like play out as like a career. I think that's really fun, and I enjoy that. Similar with both 2K and also Madden, I like to play as franchise mode. I like to have my own team. I like to do whatever I want and make the trades I want. In Madden particularly, I always move like the team from Washington to Brooklyn. Because you can relocate franchises, and I just like recreate and like create like new jerseys and everything like that. I'm gonna let you dive into that a little bit more, but I do just want to point out that this is one of the interesting times on the Packy Run podcast where Dan and I
are on opposite ends of this spectrum, like polar opposite ends.
Right.
I've never really gotten into any of the sports games, the franchise modes and everything else. I'm a role-playing guy and a platformer guy. So the games that interest me have never been any of the Madden games or anything like that. So this is actually kind of interesting. Obviously, I have an idea of what franchise mode and everything else is, but like, dude, go off. Tell me about what you do.
I'll say this, like, first and foremost, with the Madden games and the 2K games and everything like that, if you have one, you don't really need to buy the next one unless you really want the draft picks. I would also say, unless you're working with like different hardware and stuff, because that's one of the things that I've always struggled with a lot of those games. Like every year, I don't think you need one, but if there's a new actual platform, like when the PS5 comes out, or if they've really gonna revamp the graphics or something like that, I can imagine that. Or that's if there's like draw. A new interesting mode to the like the game, like there was for Madden, for example, there was this one where you pretend to be like you're like this struggling player that's trying to get like to the NFL and everything like that, and you role play as that. That's kind of interesting, but like it's all the same. It's kind of like I mean, I don't know. I'm not into that. I like the strategy, and I like to just build a team from the ground up and just create like a dynasty.
So you like being the Steinbrenner of these different games?
Well, I don't do that. I like to what I do is, first thing I do is I trade every single good player away, or any player that has any value, I trade them away. I trade them away for draft picks. And I just build through the draft entirely. Whether it's first round picks, second round picks, like whatever I can get for them, I just use those picks and just build and build and build. Sometimes I trade them away for different players. If I think a player is interesting, if they're like 6'6" and have like 90 speed and like 82 catching or something like that, and they're like a wide receiver, I'll pick them up even if they're like a 68.
So this would be in Madden.
Yeah, this would be in Madden. Okay. Now in 2K, I do similar things like that. Although the thing with my only beef with 2K is after a couple years, everyone wants $30 million, which is, it's so unrealistic because not every single NBA player deserves a $30 million a year contract.
Now, again, having no knowledge of these kind of things, are there negotiating tactics and stuff that you can use as if you were, there in the room in real life?
I mean, like, I adjust the contracts. I also have my own settings to make it more realistic to as I can make it. Because it gets a little ridiculous after a little bit. Like there'll be like a 80 overall player who wants like $35 million a year. It's like, and they haven't even played yet in the NBA. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying you that. There's no possible way.
But you like being the guy in the chair.
Oh yeah. I mean, I like playing it when I want, like if I want to play it, I will. Like if there's, for example, in Madden, if I'm in the Super Bowl, I'll usually sim the first 2 quarters and then play like the last 2 quarters just to like play it out. I have fun with that. If it's basketball, for example, I'll like simcast a few of the games. Like if it gets to like game 7, I'll simcast it, which you sim a little bit of the game and then you eventually you can hop into it and play it, which that is a lot of fun. But
so it's mostly sports games for you.
Oh yeah, I mean sometimes GTA 5. If I'm feeling
a little bit of that open world.
I mean,
what do you do in GTA?
I mean, the last time I played it, I was doing some of the missions and I was having fun with it. I was just going through like the storyline of that, And I was enjoying it because when I've played it many years ago, I was just like I just wanted to drive around and shoot people, drive around, steal cop cars, and like do stupid things.
Just do hood rat shit.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to do. Now I'm like, oh, I have Trevor. I can actually go like have a plane and like steal one, or and like I have that ability now, and I don't know. I was having fun with that earlier in quarantine, but I haven't been playing it since.
So like I said, I've never done the sports game kind of thing. I don't know why, but I've never really found, the joy in doing that brand of game or whatever. For me, it's always been role-playing games and platformers. So my first video games that I was actively playing were always like Crash Bandicoot, right?
Yeah.
So I was stoked last year or 2 years ago, when they remastered the original 3 games that were originally on the PS1. I've played those remasters a lot, and I'm really bad at the remasters because there are levels of those games that I know by like muscle memory that I can't do anymore because they changed the physics around in a little bit, and that's a lot. But the big one for me was earlier this year, the first part of the Final Fantasy VII remake, and that's the thing. Like, that is the epitome of what I look for in video games. I basically want a movie where I'm pressing buttons and like making small decisions and stuff like that, but I'm there for the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm all about, with the Final Fantasy VII, there's a lot of you upgrade your weapons and you go looking for certain items that will help you with your upgrades and stuff like that. But I'm there for the story. So it's basically like watching a movie where I'm constantly pressing buttons and kind of directing you. Actually, now that I think about it, literally as I'm sitting here thinking about it, I like being in the director's chair. Like,
so kind of like me.
I'm literally the guy that's telling the camera where to go, which is, I've never thought about it in that way, but that's the thing that gets me with video games. So yeah, we started this off and I was saying, we're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum as far as what types of games we're playing. But yeah, maybe we're not so different in that regard.
Yeah.
We like being the guy in the chair.
In like a weird way, we're very similar.
Yeah. Whereas the difference being you're the guy that likes to be in the chair and just calling the shots and then watching the reaction and watching the thing happen as it happens. Yeah. I'm the kind of director like taking the camera from the camera guy and being like, no, it has to move like this. I want it to go this way.
Right. Yeah.
That's really interesting. I literally did not think about it that way until we were sitting here right now doing this.
I mean, we just, like anyone else, we like to be in control.
I mean, yeah, I think part of that is just absolutely human nature. But a lot of your kind of stuff is, it seems to be like simulators, like a real life kind of thing.
I like to simulate.
I'm less about the simulation of real life and more about like I said, watching a movie, reading a book, something like give me a new story. Give me something that's, I'm looking for things that I haven't necessarily seen before.
Yeah. Like a different outcome to like different things.
Yeah, so actually very similar in the execution, but just different genres. I'm looking for more of that fantasy, more of that like, well, tell me a good story in a place that I haven't seen before, and you're more of the like realistic kind of bound, what would happen if the Patriots did this?
Well, I do that, but I also I do some like crazy things that would never happen.
Give me an example.
Let me see. Like I had one basketball team it was Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and then I think Anthony Davis. Like, these are like 3 of the biggest stars in basketball all on one team, and I got them not cheating, like in a actual like legitimate way. So like these, like any of these games, like you have to work against like the salary cap and know what you can spend, what you can't spend. And I just signed them through free agency and somehow like got them. I cleared up enough cap room to like get them, which that was exciting. That was cool.
Impressive.
Yeah. Trying trying to think of what else. Like, I've gotten stupid players on the Patriots and like other teams. Although I don't like doing the Patriots. I like creating my own teams and just moving them, and because like I don't want to trade everyone away on the Patriots. That's no fun to me.
That's fair.
Like, that's not fun to me. I want to like take a team I just don't care about. I have no attachment with. So like, why not take the Cincinnati Bengals and just destroy them?
Why not take a nothing franchise, destroy them anyway?
Destroy them, move them, and then build them up and win. I think I had this one. I had my last Brooklyn franchise that I had, and it had the same quarterback throughout the same, like, the time. Like, I had this quarterback, he didn't retire until like 42, so eerily similar to Tom Brady, and he won 6 Super Bowls.
Dang.
Yeah. Like, he was on Tom Brady's level. Except he wasn't a 6th-round pick, he was a 1st-round pick, but still.
Yeah, well, it can't all be like real life, right?
No, it can't be. Although, I have so like my brother, for example, he got an Xbox One, and when my PS4 was not in Massachusetts, it was down in Brooklyn for a little bit, I bought Madden, like the newest version of it, just because it was so cheap. It was like $10. This was like when every sports game was like on a crazy sale. And now what I like about the new Maddens is you can literally scout players. And there could be some guy that's supposedly projected to be in the 6th round, but they have the talent as like a 1st-round pick, which I think that is so cool. That is so much more realistic than like every single like 1st-round pick is going to be a hit. Like, that is like, I love that. And like, you can't find any good late round picks, because there are a lot of good late round picks in the NFL that made it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what are the kind of games that you are kind of playing that have that storyline?
Honestly, right now it's really just that remake of Final Fantasy VII. It's only the first part. It covers, so the first game came out in 1997, and basically what they did was they took the first like 4 or 5 hours of the 1997 game and really expanded it. All of like, there's a bunch of voice acting, and they really kind of took it from where it used to all just be polygons and these really, there was no voices. It was all text based.
Right.
All the characters were talking to each other in little speech bubbles and stuff. Now it's all voice based. So they took the first 5 hours and really expanded on it. And, graphically it's beautiful and stuff, but it's immersive. Like I was saying, you feel like a director. You're directing the camera to where it needs to go. You do these side quests. You're gaining experience points and building up your weapons and everything else. But it came out in April, and I'm only on my 2nd playthrough right now, but I've watched a bunch of streamers play it. I've watched a bunch of theory videos. Like, that's the big one for me.
Yeah.
And the other big one, just in the past couple of years, like I said, the Crash Bandicoot remasters have been awesome. More for nostalgia than anything else. They're not particularly great as narrative games, but in the way that they manage to translate that feeling that you got in those PS1 games back to a place where they can really be playable now.
Right.
Those have been really enjoyable. And then last year, so before quarantine started, I've played with it a little bit since I've been back kind of secluded. The Kingdom Hearts series, which actually has the same producer as Final Fantasy VII. I love those games. They're batshit crazy. The narrative makes almost no sense. It's basically like Final Fantasy characters and Disney characters all jumbled up into one, and the more games come out in that franchise, the more the story makes no sense. It's
right.
Crazy, but it's really fun. It's really fun combat, and each time they put out one of those games, it's really like they always kind of make it really beautiful in the execution, even if the story doesn't necessarily make sense. So those have been yeah, Crash Bandicoot, Final Fantasy VII, and the Kingdom Hearts series have been the big ones. And like I said, I'm in my second playthrough of Final Fantasy VII, but once I finish that playthrough again, I'm probably going back to Kingdom Hearts, and I'm just going to live in this weird world that makes absolutely zero sense. Like, I don't blame anybody for judging that series because, oh my God, what a mess of narrative, but it's so much fun, and you just can't, like, I can't deny how much fun it is. So those have been the video games that I've been playing, and like I said, especially Final Fantasy, that has eaten up more than its fair share of time while I've been sitting around wondering, outside of work and everything else, you know, I imagine we're all sitting back and going like, what do we do?
Right.
What are we supposed to, like, how do I fill time? And it's provided me a whole lot of fun.
Would you say those are the games that you grew up with and are some of your all-time favorites?
Final Fantasy VII, the original, was the first game that I ever completed all the way to the end. So, absolutely, yes, that, you know, the remake is cool, but like I said, it only covers about, like, depending on who you talk to, it only covers between a third and a fifth of the whole story. So, the remake is definitely cool. There's plenty of nostalgia. There's plenty of new stuff that has been left open to interpretation and stuff. So that's all cool. Crash Bandicoot, absolutely. I think Crash Bandicoot 2 was like the second or the third game that I ever completed to 100%. So yeah, absolutely. That was like the game that I grew up with. Kingdom Hearts, I was a little bit late to the party. Because the original 2 were released for PS2, and I didn't have a PS2 until like the end of the PS2 cycle.
Oh yeah.
So I was late to the party with those, but they're still like super enjoyable, and those I mostly just play or like pay attention to because like I said, that story is so fucking batshit crazy that like I just want to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Like, most of it still doesn't make sense to me. I can't figure most of it out. But like continuing to learn, and every once in a while you have a little bit of like a breakthrough where you're like, oh, I didn't realize that thing from this previous game ties into this thing from that game, and now we're at Kingdom Hearts 3 and I understand that part of this now, and like that's just like a
it's like a light bulb like going off.
Yeah, I imagine that the way that I enjoy the Kingdom Hearts series is probably very similar to the way that a lot of people enjoyed Game of Thrones if they hadn't read the books, where like week after week when there were new episodes coming out, they'd just sit back and be like, this is insane, but I'm like slowly starting to put the puzzle pieces together and stuff. So that still holds a lot of interest for me in that regard. But I do recognize that like 99% of people, you know, I don't even consider myself particularly good at figuring out what the Kingdom Hearts series is about, but I imagine 99% of people just like are so lost after the first 2 games that they would not be able to follow at all.
Yeah, that's probably how I would be, to be honest.
It's insane.
Yeah.
So I think that about covers video games. This was a good thought. We just had this thought earlier today and really managed to put something together out of it, which seems to be the way that we do things here on the Packy Run.
Yeah.
So that being said, you got a recommendation this week?
Ooh, recommendation. I would recommend this band, Higher Power. They've just put out a new album earlier this year called 27 Miles Underwater. Great. I would say like hardcore, but I don't want to pigeonhole them. It's just a good punk album that they released. Just came out on Roadrunner earlier this year. Just very energetic. It's kind of like Turnstile.
That's a big label.
Yeah, like they just got signed to them, but I would say like it's like Turnstile, like 90s rock, like a little bit of Nirvana. They actually went on tour with Basement a few times in England, so they have like the 90s rock aesthetic with shouty hardcore vocals, I would put it.
That's awesome.
So definitely check them out.
Right up both our alleys.
Yeah, they're sick. They're really cool. It's breakdowns and alternative rock, not Nirvana.
That's awesome. My recommendation this week is another podcast that just started in the past like week or two. Jeremy Boehm from Touche Amore.
Competition.
Yeah, a little bit. He has a podcast called The First Ever Podcast, which is Jeremy from the band Touche Amore, a hardcore emo revival kind of band. Interviewing a bunch of different people. He interviewed Reba from Code Orange Kids. This past week, he put out an episode with Will Yip, one of our favorite, absolutely top tier elite producer.
He's an S tier.
So Jeremy interviews these people about like their firsts. So like their first band, their first record label, their first production. It's all about, interviewing them about what got them started in, so far it's just been, music people. So, first bands, first records, first everything else. But he has said that he will be interviewing plenty of other people about their firsts. And it's an awesome podcast. Jeremy's been on a bunch of different, he's done interviews for magazines and for different outlets that have like video content and stuff like that. If you don't know him or if you haven't heard him do like an interview, Alternative Press had Jeremy interview Andy Hall from Manchester Orchestra and Kevin Devine, who is just known as Kevin Devine. And the three of them sitting there and talking. It's like a 15-minute YouTube video, and I forget what music festival they were at, but it's awesome. He really kind of cuts deep and gets people to open up in a really cool way. So for him to have a podcast is fucking sick. Good on him. I'm going to be listening every week because he's only 3 episodes in, but so far so good. So my recommendation is The First Ever Podcast with Jeremy Boehm.
That's a good one. I haven't checked it out yet, but I've seen him post on Instagram about it. I'll definitely have to check that out. That sounds like a good one.
Yeah, the Reba from Code Orange is a pretty good interview, but the one that he does with Will Yip this week it's like over an hour long, and Will like really kind of digs into some of his earlier stuff and ties in those early experiences with stuff that he's done with like Title Fight and Tiger's Jaw and Turnover and like basically every big alternative band of the past 10 years. So well worth the listen.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, my friends, we have reached the end of another episode of the Packy Run podcast.
Talk to you next week. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram. It's Packy Run Pod. We'll be posting some more content and some more funny memes there.
And don't forget to like us, rate us, subscribe to us on your podcast players of choice. Guys, every time you guys do something like that, we definitely notice and we definitely appreciate it. Again, right now, we're not doing this for the money. We're just amazed week after week with the support that we keep getting, and it's sick. So keep it up. We love you guys.
Yeah, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.